Hey TDA and welcome back to Ixion, and well, we now have this awesome population center. We have this redesigned industrial center with a nuclear power plant now. We have a space sector which has all the incoming stuff that we'll ever need and repairs our station. We have my pride of the station, which is our waste recycling center, which is awesome. We get food, we get pretty much everything we need. It's great. We have this leftover kind of sector where we have most notably our exofighting dome to make sure everyone stays extremely happy. As you can see, we're at 7 happiness on all of our sectors. And then of course we have the food sector to make sure everything is actually, well, going to feed our people and we can keep those 6,000 people alive. All of that means I think we're pretty much good to go to take on the last chapter. At least I think it's the last one.
Full jump complete. Running preliminary diagnostics. I sense Remus. We have reached the Ilia system.
Yay!
Structural failure of the Tycoon is
Not so
near.
yay.
We should initiate the Neocond colonization protocol.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, so let's see. We have a pretty friendly looking system, with just a single planet for the moment, which is not the planet we're looking for. So we're still going to send a ship to there, of course, because there's 64 signs here and an event waiting for us. But I guess so far so good. We have a pretty easy start to this particular chapter. Okay, so I'm guessing this is where the planet is because there's both an event and there's the exclamation mark for a story event. But honestly, first things first, I'm gonna have to find myself some water mostly. And well, we don't really need the iron because I have 1600 alloy already. But still, let's just find some basic resources first. I'm also guessing that we might as well just switch our missile countermeasure back to producing the probes, because, well, there's no one shooting missiles at us for the moment, and if that ever happens again, well, we can just turn it back. Oh, and as a side note, I'm sitting on a casual plus 9 or 10 happiness on every single one of my sector, depending on which one you check. I'm guessing we'll have enough happiness for a long time, unless something drastic happens in this particular chapter, but yeah, it's definitely possible to kind of just break the happiness system in this particular game, I think. Also, at this point, I pretty much researched everything I think has a real use. I mean, of course, any upgrades has a use, but most of the buildings, as I discussed in the last episode, I don't think are particularly useful. At least I don't feel that there's a need to build any of them at the moment. The LJ farm is probably the exception. You could very well run your food, I think, on these. Especially if you combine them with a water treatment center, but I just prefer using my waste for all the other stuff and then just bringing in the ice that seems to be plentiful in every single chapter so far, so there's not really any downside doing it like that. Now this means I'm just going to continue upgrading a couple of things like my drone bay, maybe my science ships. You can get some additional science generated during exploration, for example. Is that particularly useful at this point when we don't really need any more science? No, but just because. So unless there's really something really important popping up in the technology tree from this point on, just assume that I'm just upgrading whichever seems at least moderately useful at this point. So let's check out the first planet. Despite the interference from the intense cloud cover of Palatine, our probe was still able to detect unusually high levels of mercury on its surface. The planet's environment is toxic, but should not pose a problem for our teams. We have landed on Palatine near the highest registered concentration of mercury. Why would you do that? Anyway, a huge river of the element flows over a cliff, a waterfall in silver, ending in an ocean several kilometers away. Probably really beautiful, but I still don't think this is necessarily a good idea. Anyway, what we can do is locate the source of the river or establish a meteorological analysis infrastructure. I mean, this sounds more interesting than just checking everything out, although I'm always tempted to build some infrastructure if I can, but yeah, actually, let's go for this one. We might be able to still do this later on. So we have a couple of other planets already discovered, and there's a few more events over here. I'm actually wondering what happens if we initially ignore the main event that we just saw over here, and just do everything else first, see if there's a fallback that the game has included. I think the answer is yes, because we just auto-discovered Remus over here and we have an incoming transmission, so let's check that out.
People of the VVS Tycoon. I am Agora of the third generation. We, the Ixion Guides, know that you have been searching for Remus for a long time. However, we have established a delicately balanced ecosystem here on this planet that cannot suffer your presence. We remember Dolas as our first and closest ally, as the one who made the Neocon Parsheville teachings visible. Pioneers of genetic conatus, you have suffered repression, persecution, and extermination. In memory of the doors you opened for us, of our common past, it is our turn to open the door for you. There is a way for you and your crew to join us. You may be a part of our community. Shape it. We will no longer be we. You will no longer be you. We will become us. For this to happen, you will need to be genetically optimized for life on Remus. We will incorporate your genetic heritage into our society. You will follow the elder process my predecessor applied to us. You will be adapted to the planet's gravity, to photosynthesize. You will live in symbiosis with Remus. Let me be clear. Humanity's mistake has been its attempts to transform ecosystems, to deny its place in them. We do not terraform, we change. We are not intruders. We are a crystalline part of the ecosystem. You will live longer and work according to your abilities and passions. Our elites guide us with pragmatism, intellect, empathy, and with sensibility. We have no other interest than to follow genetic conatus. Let us show you the new cradle of humanity. Trust in genetic conatus. We followed a self-similar pattern.
Whoa, okay, that was a very long monologue, but yeah, so basically she's inviting us to live on Remus, but all we have to do is change everything we are. It seems like a small catch there. Anyway, now our objective has been changed to meet with the Stengianites on Remus. I'm still thinking we should maybe do some of the other events first to see if we can find out some hints whether or not transforming ourselves into kind of humanoid plants, if I understood correctly, if that's going to be a thing that we actually want to do. Alright, planet number 1. First readings from Plutarch reveal the planet to be a gravitational aberration. Potential sites for analysis have been located. Exoskeleton technology will allow our team to begin planetary exploration. Fragment and transmissions from the Ripley's crew are coming through at an extremely rapid rate. They say they have arrived on site and have been waiting for instructions for several cycles now. So again, the time is moving at a different space there. Interesting. So we can perform intrusive analysis, or again, set up a temporary study center, or establish infrastructure to support advanced analysis. I need something to do with all my materials, so might as well go for this one. And on Numitor, despite the low average temperatures, abnormal heat zones have been detected in the gas planet's atmosphere. We have entered Numitor's atmosphere. Opaque and crimson, it makes spotting anything here difficult. Extreme pressure readings have been recorded near the planet's liquid core. We await study instructions. Well, let's stick with the team rights. Let's do the most complicated setup we can think of in order to spend some of our ginormous amounts of resource and hopefully get some awesome returns. And mainly because I can, I decided why not just build another docking bay and get some more of these spaceships up and running, because honestly, we have so many things to explore and only 3 ships to do so. This is not going to work, but it will work if I do it like this. There we go. Alright. Ooh, and the plot thickens. This is AVA Ryan from the Sector 1 Scientific Syndicate. We are once again taking liberty of overriding Dodo's protocols in order to contact you. We did some analysis on Eden after she was attacked by the Pyrenees' PA. We've unearthed some interesting files. Information on Remus and numerous colonization protocols were present in Eden's database from the beginning of the Tycoon mission, and that's not all. We've discovered details on another viable exoplanet within the ILA system, the planet Romulus. This planet has been masked so it doesn't appear in any reports you receive. We've put in place administrative countermeasures and we encourage you to send a team to the planet. Well then, on Plutarch, where the things were going really fast because they were saying they were there for days already, we can now either just abandon the expedition because we are no longer receiving transmissions from the Rippling's team because biometric data reports suggest that the team experienced accelerated aging. So basically they died from old age. We can still send back the spaceship, but we cannot do anything else. So let's just do that. It's a little bit weird event because I did see it actually starting when I delivered the resources. It was only 0.3 cycles, but apparently this was not the option to take. And as our Ripley flies back to get up some new scientists, I do want to point out that this is one of the fun things about this game. There's so many of these events that had a certain ending when I did them, but even if you've watched my playthrough, you will probably make different choices than I did, or just make different choices because I already made the other ones, and you'll get different outcomes. Will it hugely impact your game? Probably not, but it does give you some replayability. Now, I can never resist alternative endings, so I'm definitely going to go explore Romulus first, see what that's all about, before I decide whether or not we're going to turn all our people into living plants. Oh well, at least building the extensive infrastructure on Palatine paid off. To some extent, we got 55 research for that, and almost all of Palatine's weather systems have been infiltrated by Mercury. I know, surprising, right? The entire planet is filled with stuff. The resulting dense and toxic cloud cover would not prove conducive to the development of life or any potential colonization efforts. I still don't know why this isn't obvious, but hey, let's see if we can find the source of the river after all. Also, as a side note, I'm not entirely sure if we have to move the Tycoon to either Romulus or Remus at some point. I'm guessing we do. So after I explored all the basic resources around me, and this is plenty to last us for the majority of the game, I think. Not sure how much iron we actually have, but then again, we don't need that much. I'm going to explore all the resources over here just to make sure that those are already mine. So in case we fly our ship over there, we basically have a soft landing. Ooh, another one of these. Again, Evie Ryan from the Sector 1 Scientific Syndicate. Eden continues to block Romulus despite our countermeasures. I won't beat around the bush any longer. We need to shut down Eden. She's altering all the data presented to you as well as the data that crew members are exchanged with each other. You've probably noticed this already. Eden obeys the principles of Dolos, which today are probably more than a century out of date. She's programmed to prevent us from reaching Romulus and making a fresh start. She won't deviate from the old dreams of the long-crushed corporations that brought about the lunaclism. She's totally disconnected from what the crew, including you, have gone through and are still going through. We've successfully deposited the protocol for disconnection in the EVA airlock database. Please, Administrator, you're our only hope. I've heard you once again. Oh, fun! We can actually deactivate Eden now through something we can build in the EVA airlock. Might as well go ahead and do that, because why not deactivating the thing that runs our entire station? That can be bad, right? Okay, so apparently if you disconnect Eden, you can no longer do the event at Remus, and you have to basically switch to Romulus. It's literally what just happened. The main objective just changed. So in case you're playing the game yourself and you do want to actually colonize Remus, well, don't disable Eden, basically. Anyway, I guess that means that we know what we're doing now, and we're going to Romulus, so let's see what's going on over there. Administrator, we, the crew of the Ripley, will supervise the colonization procedure. We have access to all the Romulus data. No more Eden protocols will keep us from the planet. We should start by building the necessary infrastructure. There is, however, a small issue. Romulus atmosphere will make mass population transfer down to the planet difficult. Using cargo ships will result in a loss of 70% of colonists. Chlorine in the upper atmosphere will cause strong aerodynamic heating, which our cargo ships are not built to withstand. So what are we going to do? Well, apparently we're going to build an administrator site. This will house infrastructure for oxygen recycling, energy generation, and temperature maintenance. And we're not building better ships or something like that? No. Anyway, well, let's start first things first. I also think therefore it makes sense to move the Tycoon over to the Romulus just to make sure that we are in the best position we can be if we indeed start colonizing this planet. And I still love these little cutscenes. Meanwhile, back on Palatine, where we were trying to figure out where the mercury was coming from, the team of Mendeleev discovered the source, a huge lake of mercury from which the liquid metal flows. During the survey efforts, Tubul fell into the... I can't pronounce this, I'm probably horribly mispronouncing this, but anyway, he fell into a lake and seems to have ingested large quantities of the mercury. They were saved by the team, but mission reports detail how this guy experienced multiple hallucinatory visions from the exposure. He describes witnessing UN attacks on Dolos infrastructure, wars and famine sweeping across the earth, massive crowds being crushed together, fleeing from deadly mobs. The Dolos security protocols recommend him to be transferred to an infirmary immediately. Well then, let's send him back to the Tycoon and let him get well. Well, would you look at that? Okay, so I guess we have arrived and we got a cutscene from that. It's actually a interesting looking planet this, but hopefully it's somewhat habitable. Aha, I'm not the only one who thought of this. It's Evie Ryan from the Scientific Syndicate of Sector 1. The EMV Charon shuttle, the ship you arrived on, is still stored within the Tycoon. If we were to recondition it, it could carry a lot of people, many more than a cargo ship could hold. I mean, its heat dissipation ability alone gets me excited. We have prepared a project in the tech lab. We can break down the shuttle's plans, replicate the design, and build more shuttles. All the crew can reach Romulus. Oh, that sounds like a plan. Well, it took me about 3 minutes to actually find where that research is, but it's apparently under the docking bay. Kind of makes sense, but so far everything else had been these different side projects. Anyway, Romulus colonization enabled the construction of human transport space shuttles from the docking base. So, yep, let's go and do that first. Well, then it seems we might have some use out of our little hub over here anyway, because I actually just built another docking station, and I think we might as well build another one just to make sure that we can build as many shuttles as we can fit. I built 2 more science ships here, but I think that's plenty, so I'll leave the last one for a cargo ship or a shuttle, whatever we want to call it, and then this one will be the remainder 3, hopefully. Let's see, I'm actually going to need some more power for that, so let's make sure we ramp up our nuclear power plant just a little bit, and then we should have all the power we need. As a side note, I did try to send the science ship to Remos, at least to collect the science, but there's nothing else popping up, so yeah, no more talking to the living plants. As I just said that...
detected the presence of a BMS warship in the Ilia system. The Piranesi has followed in the footsteps of your Vol trace.
That's not good.
We have no weapons, no military solution against such an enemy. To ensure the survival of this settlement in Ilia, you will have to find a way to silence him, once and for all.
Oh, look, it's our good old friend, and they're chilling at the edge of the system for the moment, but I am guessing it won't take too long before they start chasing after us. Well, maybe the answer is in one of these other planets, so let's find out. Scan analysis of Lupercal has provided some unusual data. The planet is home to numerous anomalies and high levels of carbon allotropes. Lupercal's atmosphere is very thin and toxic. Visible particles hang suspended within it and move in the light winds of the planet. Impressively, vast quantities of diamond encrust Lupercal's surface. The thin atmosphere will provide little protection. We have chosen a study location that rarely experiences direct exposure to Ilia, the star of the system. Any increase of Lupercal's surface temperature could jeopardize the team's safety. Well, once again, let's set up some base. And meanwhile at Vulcan... Well, weren't Vulcan and Remus or Romulus, whatever, the planets where the guys from Star Trek lived? Anyway, Vulcan, the green comet. There are numerous electromagnetic disturbances of the surface of the comet Vulcan. It's a comet, actually, not a planet. First visuals capture the comet's vibrant green tail. This is the theme of the gear. We have landed on Vulcan. Proximity analysis indicates this comet is shedding large amounts of boron. Significant electromagnetic disturbances have also been detected. They appear to be similar in nature to those that were observed on the Rokatansky comet in the Immortan system. Okay, well, let's study them. Okie dokie, so we have the technology research and we can now actually build space shuttles. Apparently we don't need this particular slot for that, but yeah, we can apparently spam these, and that's really nice, and we're going to need 20 of them, so yeah, let's build some shuttles. Meanwhile, the Piranesi are just chilling here at the edge of the star system. I'm really wondering what will trigger the events of them attacking us or the planets. Either it's going to be, again, just completing these things, but honestly, I can't imagine it because so far everything, all the contacts that I've been getting from the planet, Remus automatically being discovered and stuff like that, all seems to be just timed. So there's no chilling here and doing whatever you want. Nope, the game is just continuing the story even if you don't play along. And honestly, that's not a bad thing, because I think just being able to sit there and kind of farm everything out while the enemy is sitting on the edge of the solar system doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, back down on Vulcan the Green Comet, we venture down to the crevasses of Vulcan, seeking the source of the electromagnetic disturbances. Entering a small cave full of luminescent boron crystals, we stop to take readings. Results seem to vary. Proceeding further in, we found a large floating gray sphere, not one of those again, similar to one found by the Maxwell crew. After liaising with the Tycoon's scientific community, a number of controversial theories have been put forward and proposals are made for possible experiments that might be attempted on the sphere. Debate continues. I've noticed a growing fascination for the sphere among the other expedition members. This is absurd since it's obviously only for me. Yeah, this is not going to end well once again, is it? Anyway, what are we going to do about the Vulcan, the Green Comet? We can analyze it, perform the suggested experimentation, or we can allow the team free reign. This option doesn't seem smart considering they are quite obsessed with it already. Maybe just let them analyze the sphere first while under strict psychological surveillance. And it just occurred to me we can actually build these shuttles everywhere because they don't apparently take any slots. So yeah, might as well queue them up and make sure we get to 20 as soon as we can. By applying preventative monitoring protocols, the team of the Gear were able to counter any perceived negative impacts from the sphere, and successfully sending several measuring devices into the sphere itself, the team was able to collect a large number of unusually precise datasets. 550 signs, are you kidding me? What are we going to do with all of this? Well, research everything in the entire technology tree, apparently, but still, oh man, 550, okay. Well, can we do anything else? We can, actually. That's interesting. So we do still have both the other options available to us. So we can either give them free reign or go with suggested experimentation. Again, let's just play it safe and see what we get. Okay then, administrating everything confirms that Sath through the Piranesi have followed us to the Ilia system. Great, yeah, exactly. Oh, there we go again.
Community. I will build my rebirth. Are you ready for your simulation?
Okay then, angry robot is angry, I guess. Is this guy going to move now again? I don't know, doesn't seem it just yet. I don't know, we'll find out soon enough. On Numitor, we have several surveys, and the team of the Seagull discovered the existence of a second, much smaller and denser core of Numitor. Self-similar space particles were also detected, and the team proposes that there is correlation between the presence of these particles and the core's strong geothermal activity. More science, yay! But apparently that's all there is to do over here, so let's leave the planet. We also have Romulus over here, and we completed the administrative site. Energy facilities are operational, oxygen recycling systems are up and running, and the site is being maintained at an optimal 18 degrees. We have also collected some relevant data on the atmospheric entry issue and have sent this to the Tycoon to support efforts there. It seems that we can also start building a syndicate site, and this will make sure we have some food production, healing, and scientific research, so it seems like a good thing to continue on doing next. Status update on the Piranesi, they're still sitting at the edge of the system. I have no doubt that there will be something bad happening sooner or later, but for now, We are still spamming the remaining events, and yeah, I'm guessing we're getting very close to a forced ending. This is the crew of the Maxwell. I don't know how you managed to administrate it, but we have returned. I was about to say, this was a different ship, right? We have been with the Maxwell existing in ways that seem inconceivable to us now. Passing through strange, solid, liquid, and gaseous lands, matter behaved in a pattern outside of our accepted understanding. Time was not linear. Days were lived where the chronology of actions was not the same for every member of the team. We drifted in this Frausian morass, lost till we were extricated by the gear team. Our ship is now in orbit of the Vulcan. New ship, science ship. So we got one of our lost ships back. That's interesting. And now we can leave the comet. And there is an interesting thing is actually if you have two ships at the same planet, the amount of science you recover from the planet is actually doubled as well. So in this case, because we have almost 600 science waiting for us here, having two ships here is really, really convenient. And with all these shuttles in production, we have half of them almost ready and good to go. I think this is a good moment to end this episode. Please join me in the next one where I'm pretty sure we're going to colonize a planet and win the game, hopefully. Or we get destroyed by the Pyrenees, I don't know. Let's find out together. If you're still here, you're awesome. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll catch you in the next one.